So today we're going to be reviewing the Eonon D5165 install in a E90 BMW. So that's a BMW 335i. I have the benefit of having the BMW Professional Logic 7, which just means it's going to be a pain in the ass. It's not just a plug-in. You can see here are the two MOST bus connectors, but the fiber optic link. So it's got a little 9-channel amp in the trunk. That will require you to install a aftermarket amplifier, or you could just kind of power it off the head unit, but then you really only have a few channels. So the good news is that it's not that horrible. It's got 4 channels, left front, right front, left rear, right rear, and then 2 sub options, so for the under seats. So that is 6 channels that you can kind of play with. I've seen some people use the JBL MS8. I'm going to probably go with the JL Audio 606. Just use the 6 channels and then just remove or delete the rear speakers here. You can see the ones in there, or just kind of tie them into the ones in the back. So I'll see. I may have to add a another amp for just that, or the subs under the seat. Anyway, so install wise, gotta take everything out of the dash. There is this bracket which everything sits into. You can kind of see here. Hold on. So this bracket sits in there. You gotta take out the 4 screws on the front. I'm showing you them there, and then the 2 bolts on this little bracket at the bottom, and then it will fit nicely in there. So I'm also using the TPMS sensors. So you can see here, this is a nice little Chinese box. It comes with a little sensor. It's compatible with this unit, and then the 4 TPMS itself. So we'll see how that works. Alright, so let me push this into the dash. Oh, before I do that, let me show you the fitment issue I have off the bat. So this, the temperature cluster down here fits really nicely on the front. A little plasticky feel, but probably will be better when it gets installed. Main concern people have had is that there's this gap around here. As you can see it, I'll show you when it's installed, but that kind of gets covered up with this. I'm probably going to use a little Subaru or something and fill it in so it makes it look a little bit nicer. This little tab here, you can see, kind of sticks out, so that's limiting me from installing it right now. I'm going to have to trim that off if I want to keep this. Just reviewing it. If it doesn't work out, I'm probably going to return it. But you can see here, this clip needs to be trimmed on this side and the other side. Alright, so let me pause this a second and get this installed. Alright, so we're back. You can see here that this comes out a little bit. Let me try to get around here. You can see here that this is still sticking out, so it's not going to be perfect, but you can kind of see that there is a pretty flush fit here, so it is a nicely designed, at least top piece. The bottom sticks out, but you're just going to have to live with that. Good news is that it does... Let me clear all my garbage out of this bottom one here. Alright, cool. So it does look really nice once it's installed. Nice finger distance, so you can kind of play around. As you can see, the TPMS here is throwing errors because the sensors are in this box. Not a lot of pressure in here, right? So try to get out of here, and it won't let me, right? So of course, make sure you install the sensors before you do that, or just install the module later. So let me just go ahead and unplug it. Before I do that, let me just show you one cool feature of the TPMS, right? So this can run, but you can also run it in a little window, which is really kind of cool. So if you're running your GPS, you can kind of have this like little picture-in-picture mode, which is pretty nice. So this will show you red or green on these wheels. So if you are having a little bit of a problem, you can get it real time. And then you can just kind of double click on it and it'll pop up once whatever you're loading is loaded. It also tells you temperature. It has bar and Celsius now, but you can switch it over to PSI and Fahrenheit if you're in the US. Alright, so let me go ahead and just disconnect this module. Alright, the module is uninstalled. So you can see here, this is the little guy here, little radio, wireless module, plugs into the back of it. Alright, so let me see if I can kind of fix the glare. There you go. So initial thing that comes up, right, when you get the car going is that the SOS module is going to throw an error see here, because I took out that module, it flipped over to kilometers. So I need to go ahead, go home, go to the settings, car setup, settings, kilomiles, mpg, Fahrenheit, car keys if you want to set the heated seats or not, or curtain switch. I don't have any of those, so not really care much about that. Alright, so by default, the cool parts about this is that it's got a little NFC here. Let me turn the flash back on if I can. So the cool thing about this is that, you know, there's a little NFC tab. So I've got a Galaxy S4, I just have to touch it and it says, do you want to pair with Eonon or whatever you call the company, and you just say yes and it pairs up fine, A2DP. Now of course I'm not plugged into any speakers, so I can't really hear anything, so I'll probably have another video to review the actual sound quality and setup. But it does connect automatically, which I like. Right now I'm using this Aircast audio from Belkin. It's like a $70 piece, I think. It works pretty good, but you've got to automatically pair it to it every time you get in the car, which can get a little frustrating. So a little bit more on this interface, right? So it's a little sluggish. Touchscreen, it doesn't feel capacitive. I still have the screen on it. It's not very, it's pretty firm, so it doesn't feel like the old pressure-based systems. But then again, it's not capacitive-based, right? You've got to apply a little pressure to get it working. Probably one of the newer LCDs out there. So GPS, pop this up. When this first comes up, it's going to give you an error, right? It's going to say file path to executable or something. And you put your card in, and then you can browse to the executable under the Kudos directory. You got to scroll down into it. So I try to reset it to show you, but once it found it, it sticks with it, so you're good to go. Let me just get into here. Navigator-wise, it works pretty well. The GPS syncs and acquires pretty quickly. A lot of stuff's in there. Of course, it's no Google Maps or anything, but not bad for a nav system. Definitely better than the nav system in my X3. So let's pop up here. Cool thing is that there's this little nav button here, and this will allow you to flip back and forth between what you're doing and the nav, right? So pretty easy to go and change the music station, come back. Other cool thing is that automatically put it in reverse, as I did now. It'll flip over to rear camera, and you gotta have that hooked up, of course, and then pop it back and it comes out. So go through modes. I've had to use this little reset switch here a couple times, mainly because I've been plugging stuff in, plugging stuff out. So, like, for instance, the buttons on the front of the unit stopped working, so I couldn't get to home. But after I reset it and actually inserted a DVD or CD, it works, right? So you notice one thing, this doesn't work. You've actually got to give it a little angle, right? So slight little angle to the DVD load, CD load, but I don't really use CDs anymore, so not the end of the world. So it finds all these tracks, you know, it's pretty cool. Maybe if it had internet, it could pull up what CD it was, but anyway. Other thing about the install, while I'm looking at the dash, there's these screw holes here that you got to pop out these little caps to install. This will go where the factory one went. But unfortunately, the screws that came with the factory unit aren't long enough, so you're going to have to get them probably another inch or two longer than that. There's a lot of space behind it, so you can definitely overshoot and not have to worry about it. You know, so talked about Bluetooth. Bluetooth is really easy to sync. Haven't tested any of the other features really. Yeah, so aside from it is pretty good. You know, you do have full functionality from your steering wheel using that Canbus connector. I can flip between modes. So if you've got a video going and you want to quickly swap out because you know you need to not have a video on your dash, just hit the little, you know, the mode button here, and it'll flip back and forth. Then you can hit the nav and, you know, flip back and forth between that. Mute. Everything's pretty quick once everything's installed right. You know, all these are changeable, like I said, but, you know, wish I could remove some of them or delete them. So, you know, of course, everything's customizable, so if we want to, oh, sorry, it's under settings, change the logo of the LED lights. Logo, you know, you can change it through pretty much any vendor you want, I mean, any car manufacturer you want. Backgrounds, you know, you can set it to something nice and pretty. All pre-canned, so you can't upload your own custom ones. That would be pretty slick, but it does not allow you to. At least I haven't figured out how yet. Touch, you know, steering controls, time. Let's see if I can change the color on the time. So we need to change the time zone. So LED light, so currently it's blue. Go with the, you know, this BMW orange or whatever. And then this is a little bit nicer. The cool thing is that if you do turn on the lights, as you can see here, it's a nice orange, so it does kind of match. A little on the yellow side, a little on the, you know, light orange versus the dark, you know, amber of the BMW system, but you know, not too bad. And let's see what else. And that's about it. So we'll see how this goes. I'm still deciding if I want to keep this unit or not. I want to drive around with it, make sure that it's not too buggy with the nav system and flipping between the applications on it. And then if it stands up, I'll order an amp and get that installed and see how it goes. But alright, well, that's what I had. Cheers.